Once upon a time, there was a princess named Grace Kelly who became a famous actress. She starred in many films and was loved by many. Everyone believed that she lived happily ever after, just like in fairy tales. However, the truth was far from the perfect world that people imagined. Grace Kelly's life took an unexpected turn when she married into European royalty. She became a princess, and her life seemed like a dream come true. She lived in a beautiful palace and had all the luxuries she could ever want. But behind her regal facade was a reality that nobody knew. Grace Kelly was born Grace Patricia Kelly on November 12, 1929. Her father, Jack Kelly, was a wealthy construction contractor from Philadelphia. Grace was the fourth child in the family, and she had to compete for her father's attention with her three siblings. As a teenager, Grace attended a convent school near her home. It was run by the Sisters of Assumption, and she was a shy and quiet student. However, when she turned 14, she transferred to Stevens Academy in Chestnut Hill, Pennsylvania. At Stevens Academy, Grace's priorities shifted from her studies to drama and boys. One of her instructors noted that she was not particularly interested in academic achievements. Instead, Grace focused her passion for acting and her social life. She had just graduated from high school and was faced with the choice of going to college or pursuing her dream of becoming an actress. Grace chose the latter and set off for Europe to begin her journey. When she returned, she enrolled in the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. However, her skeptical parents only agreed to pay for 1 year's tuition. Determined to make it on her own, Grace found work as a fashion model and even became a cover girl for several publications. She lived at the Barbizon Hotel for Women on 63rd Street, where she pursued her passion for acting and began an affair with a 27-year-old academy instructor. Grace's talent began to gain notice as she performed in many television and live productions, including her Broadway debut as Raymond Massey's daughter in The Father in 1949. Her big break came in the early 1950s when she landed the role of the Quaker wife to ex-Marshal Gary Cooper in High Noon in 1952. The movie and Grace Kelly became a hit. Once Grace Kelly became a successful actress, she had no shortage of romantic interests. She continued her romance with actor Gene Lyons after returning to Broadway. Then, while filming Mogambo in 1953, she briefly moved on to Clark Gable. During the shooting of Dial M for Murder, Grace was linked to Ray Milland, and later, she had dalliances with fashion designer Oleg Cassini, French actor Jean-Pierre Aumont, Bing Crosby, and William Holden. It seemed like a pattern was emerging. Despite her busy love life, Grace's on-camera skills in The Country Girl earned her an Academy Award in 1955. Grace Kelly with Prince Rainier. The Cannes Film Festival was attended by Grace Kelly in May 1955. Grace Kelly and the 31-year-old Prince Rainier III of Monaco would finally meet thanks to the efforts of actor Olivia de Havilland's husband, fashion magazine editor Pierre Galante. The obese prince, who was approaching middle age and had a small weight issue, decided he wanted a wife and successors to his realm. Grace Kelly had grown weary of the Hollywood scene and her Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer contract. She longed for a change in her life. In January 1956, Prince Rainier III of Monaco proposed to her and offered a dowry of $2 million. Grace Kelly accepted the proposal, and the couple married 4 months later on April 18, 1956. The wedding was viewed on television by around 30 million people, and the actress became Princess Grace of Monaco. The wedding not only marked the beginning of Grace's luxurious royal life, but also the end of her acting career. She devoted herself to her new role as princess and eventually gave birth to 3 children, Caroline, Albert, and Stephanie. Grace Kelly played the part of princess beautifully for 25 years, at least from the outside. The flaming monster of love for someone strange would rear its ugly head many times throughout Grace Kelly's life. She engaged in numerous extramarital affairs with luminaries such as David Niven and even Frank Sinatra. However, Prince Rainier III himself was rumored to have swung the club from time to time as well. Despite her life of luxury as Princess of Monaco, Grace began to miss her acting career and sought to revive it. In 1962, she accepted the lead in Alfred Hitchcock's film Marnie, but was eventually replaced by Tippi Hedren due to health concerns. Grace continued to pursue her passion for film by joining the board of directors of 20th Century Fox in 1976. On a fateful morning in September 1982, Princess Grace and her daughter Stephanie were preparing to leave their vacation residence in Roc Agel and return to Monaco. The Rover SD1 was loaded with their luggage and ready for the 35-minute drive back to town. The car was so packed with belongings that Princess Grace decided to drive them herself and sent the chauffeur home. At 9:30 in the morning, Princess Grace got behind the wheel with Stephanie in the passenger seat. They set out on a narrow, treacherous, and windy road called Cluster of Differentiation 37. It was not the same road that she drove in her 1955 movie To Catch a Thief, as some people mistakenly believed. The drive started smoothly, but only 10 minutes into the journey, disaster struck. The Rover was seen weaving wildly back and forth, according to the driver behind the princess's car. The worried onlooker would honk repeatedly to draw the attention of the suspected intoxicated or tired motorist. The speed of Princess Grace's automobile abruptly increased to well over 50 miles per hour as it neared the Devil's Curse, a roadside hairpin turn. The vehicle smashed through the stone wall and careened down the 120-foot mountain, cutting the treetops as it lurched. The collision was heard by a nearby gardener, who arrived on the site to find a damaged car next to a pile of pebbles and next to a tree it had hit. The helpful stranger saw Stephanie pulling herself out of the car and yelling at her mother to help her get out. Quote, "My mother, help! There's my mom in there. Get her out!" The back window of the car was smashed to free the unconscious Grace. After the tragic car accident, Princess Grace and Stephanie were rushed to a local hospital in Monaco for immediate medical attention. However, it was reported that the hospital was ill-equipped to handle such severe injuries. The medical team had to perform surgery on Grace's lungs to stop the internal bleeding caused by the crash. In addition, she suffered multiple fractures in her collarbone, thigh, and ribs. During her treatment, a computerized axial tomography scan revealed a shocking discovery. Before the accident, Grace had experienced a stroke, which had impaired her ability to control the vehicle. This revelation added another layer of tragedy to the already devastating situation. Concerned that the princess might survive as a helpless invalid, the royal palace attempted to conceal the true extent of her injuries. However, the efforts to keep the information under wraps were futile. On the evening of September 14, 1982, at 10:30 p.m., Princess Grace was taken off life support equipment, and she peacefully passed away, transitioning to the next plane. She was 52 years old at the time of her untimely departure. Following her passing, the body of Princess Grace was placed in an open coffin, where it lay in state until September 18th. A solemn funeral service took place in the very same cathedral where she had exchanged vows with Prince Rainier III 26 years earlier. It was a poignant moment of reflection and remembrance. Then, on September 21st, the final farewell took place. Princess Grace of Monaco was laid to rest in the Grimaldi family vault located within the hallowed St. Nicholas Cathedral. The serene atmosphere was filled with a profound sense of loss and reverence as her loved ones bid their final farewells. Her resting place, marked by a dignified marble slab, bears the inscription, "Grace Patricia, wife of Prince Rainier III, died on the year of our Lord, 1982. These simple yet profound words serve as a lasting tribute to the remarkable life she had lived and the indelible impact she left behind. Goodbye, and rest in peace, legend actress, Princess of Monaco, Grace Kelly.